Hello everybody and welcome back to the 5-Star Potential Podcast Social. We're here for another Lockdown Daily podcast. As always, going to be talking about life, lockdown and whatever else comes into conversation. My name is Dave. Alongside me, as you can see, we can welcome back Mr. Nerdphonic. Matt, how's it going, man?
Hello, it's alright, thank you very much.
Good, mate. How you been keeping the last few days?
I'm alive.
He's alive.
So that's about the extent of it, really.
We welcome back Joe, Friday Night FM. How's things? How was your day?
Hello, mate. Boring today. Boring. No motivation to do anything, but nice to just have a day off, not doing anything.
Chilling. So you had a Greg's earlier.
Oh, it was a tremendous Greg's.
Lovely Greg's.
Best food in the order?
Oh.
Sorry, we'll wait.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Well, there's a lot to choose from there, isn't there?
You can't go wrong with the bag was fucking huge. There was a lot to pick from.
Have we got a choice? Everything?
I'll go with a sausage roll.
Oh, it's a classic.
After all that.
Yeah.
Crab sandwich.
We have got Dupe again. Dupe, how's it going?
Again, yeah, make it sound like you're so happy to see me, Dave. Yeah, I'm good, man. You struggle with the intro so much, don't you? Welcome to the 5-Star Potential Social. Every time.
It's a catchy name, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. No, I'm good, Dave. Good to see you, man.
Good. You too, man. How was work today?
Yeah, tough one today, David. Tough one. I'm sure we'll get onto it later.
We'll see. We'll see. And our special guest today is none other than Clayts. How's it going, man?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
No, our pleasure. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Obviously, we'll be talking to you today about your life during lockdown and so on. But I mean, let's jump straight into it. Local lockdowns. Well, a UK lockdown was announced last weekend now, or the weekend before, I should say. Obviously, your life is a little bit different. You're a teacher, if I believe correctly, if I remember correctly. Sorry. So, what was your sort of reaction when it was announced last weekend?
I mean, personally, nothing really changed. That's kind of my reaction to it. I don't know how everyone else has felt about it, but this second lockdown hasn't particularly been that different to normal, well, to what has become normal life. And especially now that I'm still going into work every day, it's kind of same old, which, if anything, is even more weird because you kind of hear it, watching the news every night and seeing lockdown, and then you're like, same, it's normal.
For you as a teacher, like, obviously there was a bit of a hoo-ha when it was the first one was announced, and then they tried to push schools to go back. Like, how have you felt, sort of, with the, like, have you been comfortable at work, or were you one of the sort of people that were a bit cautious?
Definitely cautious.
Yeah.
Definitely not comfortable, especially as it was kind of ramping up the first time around, and you were kind of seeing the severity of it and saying, actually, I'm going to work now. We're not allowed to go and see our family, but I'm going to a classroom of 30 kids every day and a workplace of all these people everywhere, seeing these parents back and forth, and you're thinking, I can't go and see my nan. That was weird. And then obviously we got to the point where, sorry,
I was going to say, put the crab suit on, go and see them.
That would have solved
like,
it.
Held her back
they wouldn't know.
A couple of years.
And she would have gone at that moment there from that. But now, as soon as it was then schools closed and it was just the key worker children in schools and working from home, that kind of became quite nice in a way, being home from then. I felt like you became part of it, and it was, more comfortable then. And then going back in after that has been a bit weird.
Were you sort of, when you were at work, were you a bit jealous of everyone else that was at home, or were you sort of glad that you could still sort of do your everyday job as normal?
There was definitely a level of that. It was like, at least things can carry on. But now most of the time it was kind of thinking, I don't think we should be here, and then wanting to not be here, and kind of everyone around you, because you remember you're in that kind of arena of everybody's kind of thinking the same thing, all of those teachers kind of thinking that. It's a really surreal experience around all the people thinking this. But yeah, I kind of got quite used to lockdown after a while in the first one, and then it's been really difficult to get out of that mindset. I think, I don't know if any of you guys have had that, where you kind of became so used to not going out and not doing so much. Like, going back to normal has been really tricky. And even I see people now, and if they're too close, I'm still like keeping myself away from them. And in a school that's not possible, and it's been really weird. It like reintegrating yourself into normal life has been the hardest part for me, I think.
I think the whole thing with masks as well is going to be a weird one. Like, obviously, everyone is just used to wearing a mask now wherever you go, sort of in public.
Yeah.
And when that eventually sort of starts to fizzle out, whether that may be next year, might be with us for another few years, I don't know. But I think that'll be a weird one, because I think a lot of people still wear masks even when you don't have to for a long time. So that'll be interesting.
I think it's like one of them though, isn't it? Like, I think now people have kind of gone through this experience of, I mean, you see a lot of the time, I guess, you see a lot of time the Chinese, like in London, they have masks on because of the pollution. Now, that's very common to them. Now I believe it's going to be very common to everybody. That I think when you get on an aeroplane, I think you're going to see masks like going forward, even when a vaccine's out or whatever, because I feel people are just so shit scared of something else happening again. I just feel that I don't think we're ever going to see it. We'll see it fizzle out. Obviously, everyone's going to start taking them off, and the stocks of the mask making companies are going to go right down. But I feel that we're still going to see them. They're still going to be out there all the time.
I went to Tesco earlier to do a click and collect, and literally the place was rammed, and there was not one person wearing a mask. I'm like, they're all walking around close to each other outside. I'll bear that in mind. But why put a mask on when you're just going into the shop? Like, if you're in and around people, just fucking wear it. Because I was like, I went into like a monk mentality from what's the fucking film called? I can't remember.
Mean
I just
Machine.
wanted to smash
Mean
Machine. Wanted to smash people up, because I'm like, what are you fucking doing? Like,
that's been me.
The other day, it kind of makes you a bit anxious when you go outside and like your own little bubble. And I'm like, it just doesn't take a lot. Like, as much as maybe I don't believe it's a thing and there's more to this story than there is, but they've asked you to wear a mask, so just wear a fucking mask. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was saying about reintegrating yourself and going back to normality. I can't look at someone now if they're not wearing a mask. I hate their guts, sort of thing. If they're in public and they're not doing it, I'm like, what is wrong with you? There couldn't be a worse crime. That's mental. If you think like to a year ago, I see pictures and things pop up on your phone and stuff, and you look at like how things were then, and you think I would be so angry in that situation now. It's such a strange, different world now.
Sorry, dude, go on.
So no, I was going to say, like, I think for me, it's so much a habit now that I go out of the front door, and the minute I go out the front door, to be fair, if I'm walking the dog and I'm over the fields, I wouldn't put a mask on. I'd have a mask with me, but I wouldn't put the mask on. But like, if I'm going to get in the car and I'm going out to shop, the minute I step foot out, the mask is on. I mean, they say it takes 18 times to drink tea without sugar in for you to then not need to drink sugar in. 18 trips outside without a mask on, Clayts, and you'll be back to normal, mate. You'll be fine.
Well, let's test
it. The thing is, the temperature's dropped now. The temperature's dropped. Wear the mask, mate. It warms your face up.
Wearing glasses.
Podcast hack.
Another podcast hack. If you are going to wear a mask outside, just make sure you clean your teeth. All right? I went out on a bender before lockdown, and the next morning I had to go and get my car and move my car. I was definitely under the limit. It's absolutely fine. But literally, you breathe into your mask, and I felt pissed just walking down the road. Not a good thing. I promise.
I can't believe that a podcast hack is clean your teeth.
Well, it's the FM community, mate. You'll be surprised.
I just keep it. I have a standard mask that I just carry with me for work, but I just keep one in my car as a spare anyway. So even if I leave the house,
ask you a question?
Go on.
Is it a rewearable one?
Yeah.
And when was the last time you washed it, Dave?
It's one of the medical ones.
When was the last time you replaced it?
Well, that one's a new one in the car.
Okay.
So,
if you are wearing reusable, you should still wash it, Dave.
Well, the work ones are the reusable ones. And
Okay.
the ones
Just
that keep in the car.
Just checking your personal hygiene, Dave.
Yeah. Cheers.
That's a podcast hack, that.
Yeah, wash your mask.
Wash your mask. Well, yeah, I went to Sainsbury's a few weeks ago. Before, I think it might have been during the local lockdowns, and I forgot the mask. I had a snood in the car.
Ooh, 69.
Yeah. So I
for two with a hair review.
Yeah. So I did. I went in that looking like I was about to rob the place. To be fair, but yeah, that was also.
I tell you, it must be really easy for people that want to steal stuff in the moment. Like, literally, your face is
Not
covered.
Really, everyone's at home.
Well, yeah, true. True.
Yeah.
Did you not wear it at all at work then, Clayts? The minute you walk through the gates, you know.
No, we wear it when we dismiss the kids at the end of the day. So it's all changed. It used to be like down to the nearest door and you dismiss from there, say goodbye. Now we have to all gather on the playground outside and teachers wear a mask there. It seems a bit counterintuitive to then wear a mask when you're outside, but I guess it's to stop parents coming up to you without a mask on. But that's the only time
they
wear it.
see you with it, so they expect.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Have you felt put upon, like, at all throughout this process? Obviously, to a similar extent to NHS staff and maybe to people who have been working in supermarkets, but ultimately you've been kind of forced onto the front line of everything. You are classed as not necessarily just an educator, but you're not trained like an NHS staff is for dealing with things like this, and I'd be less envious of people who work in reception, year one, etc., who maybe have to deal with more difficult things like keeping hygiene of very small children when they're not going to want to have hygiene, etc., when it's important. But you haven't had a choice in having to deal with this. It's not part of your job description, technically. Like, you are an educator, not a healthcare worker, but you're treated like you are one.
Yeah, definitely. In the first lockdown, especially as it was becoming, I back then I feel like, I don't know if this is just me in the way that things just seem normal even though we're back into this second lockdown. But the first one, it was, if you think back to it, how seriously everybody was taking it, and I was literally scared to go outside. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm quite happy to not go anywhere, because I knew that I then had to go into a class of 30 kids and see all these people. I was like, I'm not risking it, because that you had no idea what was going to happen if you did that. So yeah, a little bit of that. Less so because I think, because you're always thinking about, say, healthcare and nurses and doctors, and you're thinking about those, and you're thinking, well, I'm just going into a group of kids and teaching. But I suppose to a degree, and I have to get 2 trains to get to work, so I was more thinking of that. I'm like, I'm now exposing myself to all these people on public transport, and then going into a school setting. And yeah, exactly.
Wrong choice of words there. Just make it clear, he doesn't get his cock out on the trains, all right?
Is that?
Wear a mask.
Only a weekend.
Wear a crampsuit.
Wear a mankini, hide it out.
But yeah, no, that was the tough part. Especially then, we're getting all this guidance from. So you've probably heard a lot from the teaching unions, but the guidance from there is like, don't go to school. It's too. You shouldn't be going. You should say no. Don't get on public transport. All of these things, and you're hearing that from one side, and then you're like, I don't really have a choice. I've got 30 kids that I'm their teacher. I can't not go in. So yeah, definitely to a degree, especially at the first time around, I'd say.
I mean, I'm going to hijack it a little bit, like, especially with my work, working with creating products for the NHS. We've actually had an incident today where one of the contractors that works on site has tested positive. He tested positive Monday last week, and we've then had to basically isolate. We only found out this morning while everybody was back on site, so we've had to isolate the people that were in semi-contact with him and kind of work out, well, they've, retest them for temperature. Have you had symptoms? Yes, you've been in contact, but you're in contact with him 3-4 days ago. You haven't had symptoms. And it's been an absolute can of worms. And the work that I work for, the people that I work for have said, well, they've passed all the tests. They haven't had contact with him in the last 48 hours. They're not showing any signs of symptoms, so we're good. Let them carry on. And I'm sat there going, hang on a minute. This seems a little bit much to me. He's been in contact with every one of these people. I think there's 12 contractors on site that he's been in direct contact with in the last 4 days, or 4 days ago, and now he's got COVID. This is just sounds like it could just open a massive can of worms. But yeah, I feel very forced upon that I need to go to work. I have to go, and now I feel that I'm at the most risk I've ever been at. So now I wear 2 masks just in case hers falls off.
Nah, the government are quite funny with that though. The government say even if you've just been in contact with them, you have to isolate.
So they've
14
changed
days
it
or 10
since
days.
this last one.
All right.
So so this is what the argument was. So originally, this is what I've been told. I haven't fact checked this, but this is what my company told me. Originally, it was if you have been in contact with somebody that's now tested positive in the last 14 days, you need to isolate. It's now if somebody in your household or your support bubble has been in the last 14 days, it's now if you've been in contact with somebody in the last 48 hours and you are not showing any signs of symptoms, you do not need to self-isolate. It's what I've been told. Again, don't take that as full truth. Please use the government website, and I will check that out before we talk about it next time.
I know that all the guidance for us in schools keeps changing. So if we have, so the way that we're setting it up is that they're in year group bubbles, so that each year group stays apart from any other year group. But we've got 2 classes, so it's 2 form-entry schools. We've got 2 classes per year group, and they're constantly mixing because they go out to playtime. They're playing together. We had what actually turned out to not be a positive case, but we had a parent phone in and say, "Oh, we've got a positive case here. We've had it confirmed." And so we were like, "Right, send these kids home." We got told it wasn't in my year group, but we were told then to only send. It was the 6 kids that sit by them in the classroom to go home, and that was the local authority had made that decision. I'm like, that's bonkers. How does that make any sense? Because there's 2 classes that all mix, and then they're in the classroom. All 30 of them must have mixed. So, yeah.
Well, when we were discussing it today, now I don't know how much of this is true. This is what we were told in our directive, is that they class direct contact as in being in their company, close company, under the 2 meters, without a mask on, for more than 15 minutes. So apparently it takes 15 minutes for COVID to jump. But like, who makes this up? Like, who comes up with this? Like, it's not like they had time to test that.
And how does it keep changing then?
I know. But, and you're saying, if anything, you would believe it would get stricter and stricter and stricter. Instead, it seems to be like, well, we don't want to interfere with all 30 kids, so let's just send 6 of them home. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
send them lot home.
The way that what kind of agenda they're trying to fit it to at all times, which is very tinfoil hat sort of way to look at it, but it does seem that way sometimes, doesn't it?
And to be fair, the thing is with COVID now, and we talk about people that stay at home, and obviously my main concern for people that stay at home, like especially my wife, she has to have something on in the background when she's working, so she has Sky News on, and I've said to her, don't have that on. Like, literally watch Homes Under the Hammer with fucking Dion Dublin. At least that way you're not constantly on about COVID. But she watches Sky News all day, and then I come home and she feeds all this stuff that she's just seen on Sky News all day, and I'm like, it's awful. However, you go to work and you know you pass somebody and you're chatting, oh, how are you doing? Oh yeah, I couldn't go on holiday this year, but you know, I saw on CNN or something that this is happening, and you just get fed everywhere information, and like you just never know what's true now. I couldn't, and that for somebody that has any sort of anxiety must be like a plague. It must be awful. So like, it's just horrendous. Like, if you can get away from it, just don't look at the news. Just look at the government website. And I know that might not be the best thing, but like at least that way you're using one source, and they're the ones that are setting the directives as we speak.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's a second yellow card thing, isn't it? It's a second yellow card thing, isn't it? Just delete Twitter.
Just delete it, yeah. Yeah, just maybe not at the moment, because we've got to find out if the beta's out or not. Once we know if the beta's out, then delete it.
No, definitely delete Twitter today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck the memes. It's obviously during sort of lockdown once. Like, were you at work or school, like the school, full time, or did you like rotate the loads of the teachers? Yeah.
So after it went, as full lockdown came in, there was a bit of time afterwards before schools actually closed, wasn't there? It kind of ramped up to that. When schools closed, we had I think it was like 12 or 13 kids that were the key workers' children. We got put on a rota for that, but we could volunteer whether we were on that rota, and I wasn't on it just because I lived further. Most of the teachers live close and walking distance to the school, so they were the ones going in for that. But eventually I was put on that rota as well, so I was then going in, I think it was like once a week. But yeah, so most of it was at home doing online. We didn't actually ever do online face-to-face like Zoom lessons. We just set work and then use Google Classroom.
How old's your kids at school?
Year 6.
Okay.
So 10,
so
10,
they
11.
probably would have been not terrible at doing like the Zoom thing, but they probably would have been a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah. So even you can just see, even on this Google Classroom, you can see when they log in, and it was like 12:30 p.m. like a.m. They're logging in then. Cool, brilliant.
What?
So yeah, you can it's well, if you just and also if you think about the sort of areas and the demographic that I don't think there was much homeschooling going on especially some of these kids. So yeah, it's not great.
Do you know, if the beta isn't out tomorrow, what I might do is I might live stream my eldest trying to do Zoom karate lessons. It's the fucking funniest thing you can. Honestly, it'll make anyone have a feel good moment, because he is just there and he is putting his like life and soul into it. And the minute like the camera goes to one of the other kids because they make a noise, he just stands there still. He's like, oh shit, I better carry on. It's so funny. Oh bless him, honestly. So I cannot imagine how. I mean, my kid's reception, so how they were doing it for like the 7, 8, 9-year-olds, and because in America they were doing it all the way through, right? I think I saw an article that literally whatever grade of school you were in, you were doing these Zoom calls all day, every day.
I saw an American Zoom call, and it was like a kid was on obviously on Zoom with his teacher, and his mom walks in. She obviously just had a shower. She was naked. And the teacher was like, "Oh my god, turn your camera off! Turn your camera off!"
Dave froze that at a perfect time, right?
Yeah.
No, there's loads though, isn't there? Because I mean, really, again, this isn't probably the best thing to advertise, but there is some videos on YouTube where some famous YouTubers were hacking, or not hacking, but they were speaking to their subscribers and getting like the class ID and just logging in, and like you just see KSI randomly turns up to a maths lesson, like 14-year-olds.
Yeah, I saw some of this.
Zealand at his uni.
Yeah, during the lowdown.
Zealand doing the showdown was tremendous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man. So obviously during your time off, what were you doing mainly, Clayts? Was it just streaming, or were you doing housework, learning skills? What were you up to?
Well, we still had to do sort of work, so I still kind of had a work day where we were setting this work, and we got given any kind of task that was possible to do at home, like plan forever in the future, and all these pointless things that we had to end up doing. But I guess that was just to keep going. We did loads of like training, random online training courses. But yeah, just not much really. Just going for the daily walk, which was really nice. Actually, I think you've probably talked about it on past ones of these, but huge. If you need to do something, just go for a walk. I can't actually. I'm the type of person who before went and thought, you know, well, what actually can you get from something like that? But the daily walk. So I'd go with my girlfriend Kat. We just go for a walk, and the amount of
girlfriend's Kat.
Take your girlfriend's cat for a walk. My girlfriend's name is Kat, and but the actual amount of communication and how much better you feel from being at home the whole time to having just like a half an hour chat and a walk is massive.
Well, my old man was the only one out of our family that got furloughed. My mum was kind of working from home because she had to be shielding for the first one. He's not been furloughed for the second one, and I spoke to him at the weekend after the football. And he's saying that he's gutted he's not been furloughed because his Candy Crush levels aren't going to go up as quick as they did before. I was like, Dad, what did you do in the whole lockdown? He went, well, I'm up to like a stupidly insane high level at Candy Crush. It's like, yeah, Dad, you're 57. They're going to tell you to reskill. Did you do it? Well, can I be a Candy Crush tester? I was like, I think that's how it works, Dad.
I've got into Candy Crush recently as well. Again,
if you need outward levels, Dave, my dad's now charging £10 a level.
Oh, I'm alright.
Didn't you used to like message people for lives?
You can still do that. I keep getting
I don't know, to be fair.
Yeah.
That was a game that's got to be like 10 years old now, that game. Like,
when did you start playing it? You must have been about 4 then.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah.
That joke's about as old as Dave is. So.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. Brilliant.
I was going to ask Dave how Lib get on doing homeschooling.
Anymore? Well, okay.
Is it going to affect our SAT scores this year or what?
Okay, anymore? We're waiting.
Lego.
Yeah, Lego.
Lego. Right.
I'm going to shave my head.
Genuinely
tomorrow I'm just going to shave my head, so no one can call me that.
Oh, please.
Just going to get a video on Twitter, just me getting the razor straight through the middle of my head.
Do it properly this time. Don't fake it like you did last time.
Okay. I've lost my train of thought now. Family and friends, Clayts, like during the first lockdown, how much did that affect you? The whole fact of missing that. Are you local to
Wasn't
your family
great.
and friends, or?
Nah, so I don't live anywhere. I live down in London.
Yeah.
So I'm not from here. So no, I'm quite far away from my mum, my brother, and my sister. But yeah, it was Zoom quizzes are shit, aren't they?
Yes.
Do you know what? I was watching a video of like Zoom, not Zoom quizzes, but like alternatives, and they do an escape room.
Oh no, my one of my friends, well, actually, one of my
okay.
girlfriend's friends did one of those, and apparently they are awful and they're very expensive.
I thought you were going to say like they're divorced now.
No. No. Apparently they sat there for like 3 hours.
I mean,
like,
it's 3
not
hours.
being able to. Yeah, well, I don't know if is that a good thing.
I will say one thing during the lockdown for us. I think that we all wrote quizzes and then just swapped them round. So we were so Joe had like mine. I had Dave's quizzes for the week. Yeah, it was a nightmare.
One thing that has continued to confuse me is the lack of learning from Zoom. Like each week, it's the same old that incorrectly doesn't know which button do I press? You've been using it for 8 fucking months.
To be fair, Matt, we've been using Discord for 4 years.
Likes this.
We've been using Discord for 4 years and we still couldn't join the call tonight.
Sure.
But it just drives me at the wall.
Yeah,
How can you not remember it every week? Same button. That's it. That's the button. Yep. You just have to press 2 of them.
That's for Mike.
It's very
That's for Mike in
specific thing.
Audacity days.
You just press one of those.
Yeah.
Clayts, so you were locked down in London, right? Because you're up by relatively stone throw away from me, right?
Yeah, not
Originally?
too far away. Yeah.
So like that would have been. I mean, I don't want to say that would have been lovely, but the walks up there would have been tremendous, mate.
That would have been good. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it
Sorry to
wasn't
say
for
here's what you could have won, but here's what you could have won.
Yeah, well, it would definitely be nicer than at even our walks. We were going around like the residential area because you go to the common near us and it was packed,
Oh, God.
like so busy. And that was the time where I was like, I don't want to go anywhere near any people. It was the time. I don't know if you had this one where if someone was coming down the street towards you, you'd have to make sure you're on the other side of the road because you didn't want to cross paths with them.
I do that anyway.
Welcome to Swindon.
Yeah,
You can't walk.
yeah.
I can occasionally walk.
Well, sort of obviously the whole sort of point of these podcasts is for obviously to help people take their mind off things, or get on with their day and so on. Obviously to help everyone with their mental health and so on. Have you ever felt the need, or would you ever reach out to someone, Clayts, if that's something you ever sort of struggled with?
I've never had it. I've never struggled to the extent where I felt there was nobody to talk to.
Okay.
But I think even more recently, and probably from this whole thing, I've become more acutely aware of actually when I am struggling, and it's that feeling of overwhelmed by things. And even if it's just a short-lived thing, it's the value of actually talking to somebody, which is going back to the walks and things, just saying, like, my girlfriend says, I can see, like, what's wrong? I can see the colours on you and things like that. I'm like, how do you even know, like, that I'm struggling with anything? I didn't even know I was. And then you talk about it and you're like, actually, I feel so much better now.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say that I've struggled in any way. I'm sure that there are people who've struggled a lot more than me, even recently. But just talking it through and talking about things and just getting things clear in your head about actually, do I even need to be worrying about this? Like, even as we were doing work from home, all those stupid tasks that I just said about that we got set from school because you're at home and you need to be doing work, I was worrying about them, thinking actually, oh God, well, I don't exactly know what they want me to do because communication's so much harder to do, but I have to complete this thing and do that, but it really doesn't matter. And then just saying to someone, actually, what do I need to do here? And just sorting everything out in your head just by talking about it is it's so valuable, but it's so hard to see the value of that at that moment. So I know that it's like almost cliche to say talk to somebody, talk to people, but it is literally just that, isn't it? It's just find somebody to talk to, and everybody, I'm sure there is somebody that they can talk to, and if not, there's things out there to talk to.
Yeah, 100%. Like we said before, links obviously in the description as well for the professionals, or if you want to reach out to us, the WeStreamFM email as well. We'll move on to the lighter notes now. I did see you commented on one of the previous podcasts because we suggested come dine with me. What would you be?
Yeah, count me in.
Yeah, what would be your signature dish then if you did a come dine with me?
Oh, I don't know. I should have seen that one
Crab
coming, really,
cakes.
shouldn't I? Yeah, nah. Is that? Yeah, crab is nice. Crab linguine. There's a restaurant near me. Really good crab linguine. I wouldn't make it though because I'd be terrible at making it. Probably lasagna. You can't go wrong with a good
Homemade
lasagna, can you?
lasagna.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Yeah, I think I'd go with that. Maybe some kind of like, don't know. I when I go out to order food from places, I order all the beige things and get a lot of stick from. Like, yeah, I'll have onion rings on the side of that and chips.
Up the
and all
beige.
that. Yeah, up the beige.
Dave likes this.
Yeah.
So maybe just like a beige theme for the.
Toast.
So yeah, I don't know. Does that sound alright? Who
Homemade
wants some?
pizza. That's probably what you're making it, or something like that.
To be fair, I'd be voting for you. Kurt would be rustled again when he gives the money out.
He hasn't cooked anything green.
Well done, Clayts.
I think that might be my favourite meme, you know.
Yeah. I've got a Photoshop or like morph Curtis' face onto him. I think he'll look the same,
Yeah.
to be fair.
I don't think you have to, yeah.
Yeah.
I think-
Like that Photoshop, you'll love the Family Guy one.
Brilliant. As a
Niche reference, I know.
yeah. As a teacher, books. Are you a big book reader? A big bookworm?
Yeah, I go in phases with reading. There are times when I'm like, I will read and read and read and read. What I used to do, and I mean it's still there, is I had the Kindle app on my phone. Now that's probably like, people who love books are probably like shaking their head at that, but I used to read so many books just because I had Kindle on my phone. Like the commute into work, just reading the whole time, and just anytime it could be like 10 minutes, just sat doing something, I'd whip out a book, read it, but on my phone.
Say,
Worried what you're gonna
it's just a
whip out
book on the train.
Second reference. You're going to get into trouble, pal.
10 minutes I'd whip it out, you know, and have a good read.
Whipping out and exposing all sorts on this public transport.
But yeah, my favourite author is an author called Michael Connolly, and it's fiction. Check it out if you like. I feel like there's probably more of a football kind of focus on this one, but fiction. It's an LA detective is the main character in it, and he is a homicide detective, and yeah, really good stories. There's actually an Amazon Prime series about it now called Bosch.
Bosh.
It's my favourite books. Yeah.
Nice.
I'll have to give it a watch. I'll start with Matt or Dupe if you have a book recommendation, only because you'll moan at me if not. Any?
No, I genuinely do. I've added one to my list today. I got recommended at work today, and I thought, here we go. It is for the rugby fans. So if you don't like rugby, you might not like this. It's James Haskell. What a flanker! Every time I've kind of heard him, he used to be a flanker, Dave.
Yeah.
Every time I've heard him on podcasts or shows, he has some great stories. Absolute great banter. His Twitter bio says he's the Archbishop of Canterbury, so he must be a twat. But yeah, no, I think it'll be worth a read. So I'm gonna get it on the Audible free trial. I get an extra book on that. It's not read by anyone decent, Matt. So I'm sorry, but maybe you could. But yeah, I would recommend that. I'd love to know what people think of it.
Was he the one off I'm a Celeb last year?
Yeah, he was.
Yes,
I thought
yes,
that
yes.
was.
I thought he was a bit of a chief on that. I did. Maybe it was me.
Yeah, but a lot of people come across as chiefs, don't they, Dave?
Yeah. Thanks. Matt, have you got anything that you would recommend?
The Mixer is by Michael Cox.
Yeah.
You just wanted to say Cox.
Zonalmarking.net. There you go. Joseph
He's a
is
step ahead of the
representing that. Very good though. It's based
I
around
thought shit.
really Premier League tactics. Sort of very much.
It's
that
a
sort
bit of
era.
you actually. Yeah, it's a bit of you. To be fair,
So it's
talk about Blackburn and Newcastle.
it's
Not
about
useful.
it's about the it's sort of like a more Premier League focused version of Inverted the Pyramid. So it's a good read if nothing else. So and Michael Cox.
This is going to sound like a very dupism, right? Okay, but the problem with that book about tactics is
Not enough pictures. Yeah, I thought so.
No, and I do agree because in Inverting the Pyramid, there's a lot of diagrams in there that do show how
yeah,
tactics would have set up. So
that's what they call diagrams, not pictures.
not pictures.
Dupism, I'm going to take that one if that's alright. I'm going to copyright that.
Yeah.
I've got a mad football book shout, by the way. I must have been about 15 reading this book, which thinking back was a bit weird, but for a different view of football on the train whipping out.
Steady. Is that how you got crabs? Steady.
For a completely different view of football, read David Ellery's autobiography. The ex-Premier League ref one, yeah. I read that. It's a proper old book now, but I read that and it's a bit mental seeing a referee's point of view, as like he actually grew up wanting to be a referee as well. He's got photos of him, like, yeah, he does. He's that type of guy, isn't he? But yeah, that was an interesting angle.
There was one that came out last year. What was the bloke's name? It wasn't no. It was an author. It wasn't a referee, but it was all about the psychological side of being a referee, and kind of you had to be a different sort of breed of person to want to be a football referee. And that seems, again, it's on my wish list. It seems one that I would actually genuinely quite enjoy, because I was weird as a child, as you probably would have guessed.
And a grown-up.
And a grown-up. I wanted, like, whenever anybody ever said about, like, making your own game, etc., etc., I wanted to make a game where you were the referee. You know, like, in the old WWE games, right? Where you could be the referee. I wanted that, but in FIFA, and be the referee.
How good was SmackDown 2?
Someone made an Apple web game similar to that.
Well, there you go. Right, see you later,
not
guys.
not as good as, like, on WWE or FIFA. It was like,
I just wanted to be.
I had a similar thought to that.
Oh, Dave, we must be both as weird as each other. So, like, I used to be a referee. Technically, I'm still a qualified referee. And at one stage, here's a little fun fact you probably wouldn't know about me. I was the youngest qualified referee in Gloucestershire. And I was super keen on going to the top. And then I realised you've got to be a bit of a weirdo and like people shouting at you.
Got to be really fixed.
Quite sure there was a documentary about David Ellery, and Graham Poll was on the same thing, I think. It was sort of like, It was when Ellery was just about to sort of retire, and then dovetailing with Graham Poll sort of coming up. Obviously, he's subsequently retired now, but that's probably...
Is he retired?
2005-ish, maybe a bit before that. But interesting nonetheless. It's focused on referees rather than... and there's a lot of David Ellery running around with his comb over. So
yeah.
Is Poll retired?
Yeah, Graham Poll retired like 10, 15 years ago.
Shit, we should have sent a card all through.
I heard, like, with referees, that especially
truthful.
To make your way to the top, you've got to be a real kiss ass, like, especially at local.
I was good at that.
Yeah.
I was good at that, Dave.
But
Well, there was the thing with like Bobby. Was it Bobby Madley? When the whole thing with the basic. Yeah.
So wait, did he actually shag it up? Bobby?
No, but it got a bit mental, and in terms of, and it really affected him both. And he's now able to. He's allowed to referee in League 2, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's been extended to more divisions, but he was allowed back in for this season, so he started back in League 2 for this season.
He's just not allowed to officiate the Greyhounds racing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, with no fans, that's probably a touch, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you ever find it weird? Okay, this is like literally nowhere near where we should be, but did you ever find it weird seeing referees, or hearing referees speak, and then seeing them outside of being in a referee's kit? Like, you never normally see a referee in fully clothed. Like, it was the Forest Green Tranmere Rovers semi-final of the playoffs, and Mike Dean was there, stood on the bars, and he's cheering for Tranmere, and it's like, it's so weird.
But it's like seeing a teacher outside of school,
yeah,
isn't it?
Clayts.
Yeah, it's weird.
Especially on the train. He's got all things out then.
Exposing himself, yeah.
He sees far too much of the teachers on the trains.
Can we start this again?
Is this a good time to say I haven't hit record?
One of the Prem refs. He owns a record shop, doesn't he? Which one's that now?
Oh,
little bloke. Yeah.
That's John Moss.
Yeah,
John Moss. But what's the record
John
shop
Moss.
called? Oh, Joe, come on.
Moss on a Rolling Stone or something.
No, it's not. It's really clever.
He should have called it that.
Equally as shit.
Yeah.
It's on the...
is it vinyl?
Let's search.
The vinyl whistle or something like that.
It could be. It could be. I'm gonna have
The
to
vinyl
Google
whistle
that.
it is. What a shout, yeah.
Yeah, it was on the Peter Crouch podcast.
That is a great name, isn't it, that? Now, there was I also heard Anthony Taylor talk yesterday, and I was like, he's got the weirdest voice ever. Like,
yeah.
And also,
Do you remember then when they all went on his stag do, and it was like all the big
no,
big
imagine
thing when
seeing
he
that
went on his
group
stag
out.
do.
Imagine
Just the
being out.
referees giving it
Yeah.
lights.
That'd be weird. Mike Dean there. Yeah. I don't think he danced like that.
Mike Dean doing the Spurs celebration.
Yeah. I saw talking about Anthony Taylor when he refereed the Wolves game yesterday. When he went to the monitor and blew for the penalty, you hear Connor Cody in the background going, "Oh, fuck off, Ant."
It's weird, isn't it?
He was
Yeah.
like,
Weird.
"Fuck off, Ant." Yeah. I was like, "Who's Ant?"
Like-
I was like, "Really nice."
It's like as a child when somebody calls your mum and dad their real name. It just doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah. Brilliant.
That's one as a teacher as well, by the way. Last week I got called Auntie by
Ooh.
one of the kids.
That's like me calling
That's a
Curdy
new one.
Dad or something.
Yeah. I get
Yeah,
I get
that's-
Miss
That
and
is
Dad
awkward. Yeah.
and Mum a lot, but Auntie was a new one.
You don't get called daddy, do you? That's a bit weird.
No. No. Only on the train.
Oh,
Up the Y.
so on your train journeys, when you're not doing things you shouldn't, are you a podcast
Can we just say
listener?
that's all allegedly?
What a segue.
You're still a teacher, Dave.
Yeah.
Still, for the time being.
Wow.
Are you a podcast listener? You listen to podcasts?
Yeah. I love a podcast, definitely. Which podcast right now? The Jack Mate.
Yeah.
Always
Okay,
quite a lot
yeah.
of. Yeah.
Happy Hour.
Yeah, Happy Hour. Oh, yeah, listen to that a lot. Liverpool ones like the Anfield Rap and
Don't know who that is.
stuff like that. What other ones? There's a few like niche ones. I quite like there's a few like murder ones where they go through kind of history things, so like proper nerdy stuff. But yeah, quite. I basically any podcast I've tried it.
Is that what you specialise in? Like you're teaching? Like I know you say you're 6, but are you like more history based or?
No, I trained when I did my uni course. It was PE. I'm the
okay.
PE lead and stuff at the school, but yeah, I do like.
Oh,
all
so you
that
didn't
stuff.
really want to teach them?
Well, no, I'd be a secondary teacher if that was the case. Yeah,
Yeah, fair point. Well presented.
yeah,
Because if you can't teach PE, right?
yeah.
Any Football Manager podcasts that you listen to? Or?
No, is there any?
Oh,
Grass and gear?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll give that one a
Yeah.
try. Yeah. No, I've been known to dabble. It's all right, that one. Yeah.
Make sure we cut this whole bit out. So,
You're the one who asked the question, Dave.
yeah.
Yeah.
You said if we got you on, you would say 5-star fucking pod.
and movies, TV. You Netflix, Amazon Primer. What do you enjoy watching?
Yeah, Netflix. I think any Netflix murder special,
Murder.
I'm there. They're good though. They are good.
Are
Like
you more of a
they-
fictional
make-
one, or do you like the factual?
Nah, the factual ones, the true crime
He likes
ones.
to proper kill them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a murder.
with
I
the
want it to
real
be a proper
death.
murder.
Nah, they're good. Like Making a Murderer, those
Yeah.
type ones. The Staircase is a really good
Staircase
one.
is a great one, actually. I'll give you
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, there's a new one. Have you started watching? What's it called? The Murder in America. The Family.
Oh
Next
no, I couldn't.
door,
I
that
couldn't. My wife watched it on Gogglebox. Like she watched
Yeah, that's
like
where
a
I
bit
saw
on
them watching
Gogglebox,
it,
and it looked a little bit much
Which
for
one
me.
was that about?
It's about the guy that kills his wife and
Oh,
2
I
kids, and
watched
it
that.
just
I watched that Libs.
sits too fucking true with me, to be
There's-
honest,
He
mate.
tried
So
to
much
bullshit his way
times
through
where-
it. It's horrific, man.
Yeah,
There's
it's-
loads of like chest cam, police
Yeah.
chest cam of him in the house and stuff. It's a bit mad.
He
just
doesn't
think-
even
Watch
cry though.
the
It's
first
really
part of
weird.
that.
Like he doesn't get emotional
Yeah.
at all. It's strange.
Yeah.
I just think I'm not in a position where I've contemplated doing that to my wife. That I should be watching shit like that, in my opinion.
It's strange.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Have you? What's on Evil Genius as well? That's quite.
That's
Oh,
good.
that's a good
The
one.
pizza boy
Yeah,
killer,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah. That one. That was mad. That is how they even like, you know. The one guy got
Yeah,
away with
have
it,
you-
and he didn't get away. He passed away, didn't he? Before he even got sent down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Crazy
You
world,
watch-
isn't it?
Have you watched Don't Fuck with Cats?
no, that was
Haven't
like
seen
last
that one.
lockdown, and that was quite a big thing. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that was massive then. That is wild. I said if you want to go on like a proper weird like 5 hours, go and watch that. It's
Okay.
crazy how that's like a social media driven like manhunt that escalates and escalates, and it starts with this guy who was filmed. He filmed himself like
Killing a cat.
hurting a cat,
Yeah.
killing a cat, and then these two people, like American, a man and a woman, like started this Facebook group to find him. The guy who did it went into that Facebook group, so they were watching him. So he was watching them look for him, and then he kept posting other videos of it. It was escalating, became like a murder case, and then the police were actually using these two people to find the guy. It's crazy. It's so weird, and honestly, each episode you're like, oh, what is happening here? Yeah.
I thought that was all about the lady that put the cat in the bin.
Remember that?
That was mad.
Oh my word.
We shouldn't laugh about that animal cruelty and all that jazz, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
My word.
What else? I thought Proudy was talking about that social dilemma as well. I watched that one, and that is a bit crazy. talking about like the adverts and the targeted ads that you get on Instagram and how much data they have on you. Watch that to be a bit freaked out by the world.
I still can't. That is true though. Like when you normally say something or you say it on your phone and it does come up the next day. That is
I've had so many crab adverts.
I feel like there might be people here that don't understand the crab story.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I feel that we should just show them. Expose yourself as Crab Man.
This one time.
Not again. Here he is.
Crab camp.
Yeah.
So when you go to Ibiza on a lads' holiday, lads, all right, just be careful because you might come back with crabs. All right. Where did it all come about?
Have you washed it?
Yeah, true.
Where did it come about? It's one of those like silly little stream memes. You know how they just snowball and become a thing. It was
like Dave and Reload.
Exactly, but that was
that was what
it was the first Lego. The first round of all the DMCA stuff. It was like all your copyright free music and everything. Crab Rave was on the Monster Cat subscription, that song, and it was like one of the only songs that was like a proper song. So instead of doing like Pump It Up or any of those other celebration songs, that was the only one you could do. So we played that if we won a big game, and then it escalated from there to order suit and all that. Yeah.
Nice.
And
do any of the kids at school know?
No, but we're waiting for that day because yeah, we'll see about that. What I'm hoping is
my teacher's got crabs.
Yeah, if they find it, it's like they leave. Literally, they're 1 year. They leave the next year. I'm hoping they take all knowledge with them. We'll see. That's gonna be an interesting one though, isn't it? That day.
Do any of the fellow teachers know like that you do streaming or? No.
Nah, not really. It's not. I wouldn't say there's. If I spoke to any of the people at work about that, I don't think they'd understand it. They would see you as that weird guy. Like,
do you bring the average age?
Do what? Yeah. There's a lot of that, and then even the people there that are a similar age are very different backgrounds. Like we've got like Canadian teachers and Australian teachers. It's a very London school like that. That I don't think they know about the corner of the internet that sits down to watch people play Football Manager.
Yeah.
What a corner, if you ask me.
What a corner.
Downloaded from FM Scale.
Brilliant.
Terrible.
We always like to ask about the Streamer Showdown as well. You've been a part of many seasons of that. What would you say has been your favourite one of those?
If the last one, because that league campaign actually doing well in any of the tournaments, that was nice. I can't believe we didn't end up winning it.
I can't believe you didn't end up winning it.
I can't believe we didn't win it. It was... and the amount of time I spent watching those offside decisions in the Discord afterwards for hours. That was true pain. I've experienced some things in my life, but that was the worst, I think. But yeah, that was the best moment. That was... Yeah, no, it's been... overall, though, it's one of those things that I wouldn't be here chatting to you guys now if it wasn't for that, I don't think. I feel like... You make so many mates and stuff. I'm not saying we're mates, but you know, like friends, people you go and have a chat to, and things from things like that, bringing everyone together. It's been, so good.
Yeah, I think that front line of what was it, Henry, Ronaldo, it was ridiculous. Can't believe I think everyone would have put money on you on that after that Saturday with that squad that you had.
Yeah, I was trying to temper expectations. I was like, we should win this, but if we get an FMing here. You know, you have to there has to be that bit of luck, and that shootout was that bit of luck that we needed. And then,
if you could go back,
that missed the pen as well.
Yeah. If you could go back, would you start? Yeah. Would you? Well, first of all, would you pick Kaka? No, that's fine.
Nah.
Would you start Ronaldo? Let him have a bit more game time. Get his. He
only did start in the one game though, didn't he? He started him in all the.
It was the first. Yeah, I started in all the other ones, and he scored in one of them as well.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't that it was just the offside calls, I think, in that semi-final. It was 3, I think. No, 4 over the 2 legs. And 3 were onside as well. It's just one of them, innit?
Feels bad, man.
Not bitter.
Just one of them. VAR.
Yeah, VAR.
It's peak times. You got any? What are your plans for this year? You got you're gonna be smashing the Twitch a bit more. You jumping onto YouTube a bit more.
Try and do a little bit of both, see how we can work it. I'd love to do more on both, really, but with that and being a teacher is tricky, but I'm going to try and think of ways to try and be bit creative with that. But I'd like to, yeah, definitely loads on Twitch, definitely some bits on YouTube as well. Trying to think of a way that we can kind of combine the two to manage workload but still make it good on both. That's the tricky thing, I think. But yeah, beta save, as soon as that drops, have we checked? Is it out yet?
Nope.
We're good?
Hope
We're
not.
good.
Just checked.
According to Twitter, it probably is.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
was out 3 weeks ago, according to Twitter.
374 days ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Minecraft is available
Yeah.
though. Just
Eyes
in case.
emoji.
Yeah.
And Lego.
374 days. That's a Wolves season, isn't it?
The Europa League. Well, Clayts, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. If people wish to find you on social medias, where can they find you?
ClaytsFM on everything: Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all the same on those.
Underground.
Yeah,
On the underground.
Overground.
Yeah.
on brand.
In the ground.
Exposure.
Yeah.
And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching and listening to today's podcast. Be sure to leave us a comment if you enjoyed it, or if you've got any questions for future podcasts, and be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the ClaytsFM channel. As always, if you obviously want to reach out to any of us, I'll make sure I start putting the links for each of us in the description down below. The professionals as well, if you are really struggling, and obviously the ClaytsFM email address as well. But until next time, it has been a pleasure. It's been the 5-star potential podcast social, and until next time, we'll see you all very soon. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.